Cimoooooooo! What's going on, guys? It's Cimo, and welcome back to yet another live duel commentary. So for this match, we have the indestructible tank known as Jeff Leonard playing his signature Mystic Mind Bird, going up against one of Europe's finest players, Jack Verma on Dinosaur. This was the last round of Swiss of the luxury gaming event that took place this past weekend. So both these players, I believe 5-2 going into this round. Whoever wins has a shot at top cut. We're gonna have to see what happens. And with us for this commentary, we have the legend himself, Mr. MBT Yu-Gi-Oh! How you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing all right. The legend himself. Wow, don't sell me too high. I don't know if I'll be able to fulfill that. Ooh, and Jeff is already fulfilling my wildest dreams by starting with Goddess Skull's Oracle.
Yes. Goddess Skull's Oracle, one of the signature cards of Jeff's deck, essentially allowing him to look at the top 3 cards of his opponent's deck, very similar to that of Spiral Gear Drone. As soon as Jeff can establish the Mystic Mind lock and maybe one of his win conditions, this is the card that kind of wraps the whole strategy together to ensure that his opponent will not see any of the cards that are going to get them out of that predicament.
An absolutely foreign effect to Yu-Gi-Oh! Fate Sealing has always been like a supplemental effect for spiral monsters, not a primary game plan, but preventing your opponent from drawing outs is extremely powerful when your win condition is to pass 40 times in a row.
So Jack's going to lead off with Fossil Dig, searching for Oviraptor. A normal summon's going to get met with Solemn Judgment, so I'm not sure his... Jeff, okay, I imagine he would play Judgment in the main deck to stop any cards like Lightning Storm, anything like that. But now we're seeing a double evolution pill come down here, getting rid of the Nibiru in his hand. That's going to be completely worthless in this matchup. And that's going to get met with Dark Bride!
Jeff's got everything but the Mystic Mind. I will say Oviraptor is one of the most fun cards to Judgment in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! And at the very least, it's thematic that they're banishing a meteor to summon a dinosaur. But the Dark Bribe coming in clutch. When was the last time that accomplished anything?
Yeah, looks like we had a bit of a misclick there. Jeff accidentally shuffling back the Goddess Skull's Oracle into his deck, but there is the Planet Pathfinder.
You play what you gotta. I mean, we lost Terraforming, we lost Metaverse. This is the next best searcher.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst, right? It's effectively like your replacement for Terraforming. I mean, it's just a monster, but you're playing Mystic Mind Burn. You don't care about your summons.
It's frustrating because it works your opponent in games 2 and 3 into this scenario where they almost want to keep cards like Called by the Grave in, just because they would prevent the Planet Pathfinder resolution. Otherwise, they're absolutely useless. Making your opponent board badly is one of the strengths of Jeff's deck.
So Jeff using the Goddess Skull's Oracle to sculpt the top of Jack's deck, but now he's using Prohibition to declare Lost World. So did he put Lost World to the attack of Jack's deck knowing he was going to draw it?
I hope. And a pass back, wow! This deck is so adept at doing things like Oviraptoring multiple times, but not finding one is a death sentence.
And extravagance off the top. Oh my god. Like, this is obviously going to be one of those games that can go long, but at this point, Jeff is trying to dig. There's the Mystic Mind, okay? And the Field Barrier. That was probably the last piece he was missing since we had the Planet Pathfinder get the Mystic Mind. But now he has essentially the lock established. Now Jeff just needs one of his cards for his win conditions being Wave Motion Cannon, Poison the Old Man, or Final Countdown for that matter, and this game's just about wrapped up.
I do like that Jeff is clearly practiced in this matchup. Failing to call Lost World means that it's very easy for your opponent to give you a token you can't get rid of, which will turn off your Mystic Mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing this deck essentially as long as we've known him. Probably even long before that as well. Unbelievable.
Jeff's got years on us.
Yeah, that's definitely a fact. So at this point, we're just digging here. Can he get to that the Poison of the Old Man Final Countdown? Poison of the Old Man is most likely what he wants to get because that has the shortest clock out of all of his cards, but at the very least, he does keep sculpting the top of Jack's deck so that he doesn't get anything too threatening. Jeff is going to set a card before he passes it back this time around, however.
This is kind of weird. Playing against Mystic Mind is very difficult, of course, because the game becomes fundamentally different than it is otherwise, but discarding the hand size is often much better than just setting your hand. It means that Mystic Mind isn't going to be on if you get rid of Field Barrier. It means that cards like Evenly Matched are on. It could potentially banish the Prohibition, and wow, keeping cards in hand is going to be a lot more difficult with that card around.
Yeah, so now here comes Silent Wobby. This is one of the new cards that has been added to Jeff's arsenal, and so it's a very interesting card. It basically switches control, very similar to a card called DD Guide, which Jeff introduced to this deck long ago, but it switches control to the opponent and then has the ability to make their hand size only be 3 cards. Just reducing the options that they could possibly have to even get out of this nightmare scenario that Jack may find himself here.
And we've talked to Jeff pretty frequently. I think the reason he selected Silent Wobby over something like DD Guide is the effect to summon to your opponent's side of the field doesn't activate. I mean, it does, but not in a way that can be negated with on-field negation like Infinite Impermanence.
Correct, and that was something that he was finding that DD Guide was meeting a lot of resistance with once people started to catch on to that card being more relevant in Jeff's deck in particular. And so, I mean, again, we see right here, Jack is just trying to just flood his board with monsters. Again, you're noticing Jack not scooping it up here, so he probably has a native out in his deck to this board, whether it be something like Paleozoic Dinomicious or like Cosmic Cyclone. A lot of the players for this tournament were mindful that, Mystic Mine is a card, and so this was still Master Rule 4, and people are just sometimes playing a single lone out in their deck just for situations like this.
So for what it's worth, there's actually no impetus for Jack to concede until Jeff finds a win condition. You know, if Jack is playing something like main deck Solemn Judgment, which occasionally Dinosaur is, negating the damage-dealing card means that Jeff will deck out before Jack, and there's fundamentally no reason to wait on it, but here comes the cauldron.
Here comes the left arm offering. So Jeff, without hesitation, is going to banish his entire hand, which will then allow him to get his win condition of choice. And he has no fear here because he's under, Jack is under Mystic Mine, so there's no card that's going to be able to stop that unless it's in Jack's back row. So that would be the only way it could potentially be punished. Jeff's set card could...
And that's the worst possible one to see. You can't interact with it when it's already on board. It's just going to be a slow drive to 20.
Yep, so there we go. The final countdown is now in effect, and you see Jeff is already starting the countdown in the chat box to the right. And at this point, it's just going to be another 10 turns of agony for Jack here because there's really nothing else he can do, and that's going to do it. Jack is going to go ahead and scoop it up immediately. He's seen enough. He saw the win condition, and now we get to go straight into game number 2. I mean, this is what Jeff was doing all day, or excuse me, all weekend to people, just being able to just lock them out like that. And your deck, there's not a lot of outs in the form of spell and trap removal for Mystic Mine, and this is why Jeff has been able to see so much success in this event.
Jeff's actually entered multiple non-IRL tournaments during the course of this quarantine that we currently find ourselves in. I would love for Mystic Mine to start being represented in metagame breakdowns just because Jeff has so much time to kill mining his opponents.
He was in one of your tournaments, wasn't he?
He was. He bubbled.
Did he really?
He did.
Wow.
It was very upsetting. But every single person who played against him said he was more polite than I could have ever imagined, and I came in thinking he was going to be polite.
So we see Jack actually let Jeff go first, and we see a turn 1 Mystic Mine, Field Barrier, Goddess Skull's Oracle with the Prohibition calling Lightning Storm to deny a lot of people's outs to a board like this. Lightning Storm, probably one of the most popular side deck cards for back row decks. So I think, unless Jeff knew there was a Lightning Storm coming, he could have just blind called that just to be safe, which I think is a pretty good bet. But things looking pretty good here for Jeff. He just needs to dig and a second pot of Extravagance.
Man, forget Exodia. How does this person draw Mystic Mine, Field Barrier, Goddess Gold, Prohibition, double Extravagance in that order? Find me a more powerful hand.
I know. This is why you can't beat an unstoppable force like Jeff Leonard, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. So we saw Jeff, he sculpted the top of Jack's deck once again. And so now we're going to... Ooh, so we're going to end phase here. So Twin Twists are going to come down. It's going to take out the Field Barrier and possibly... It looks like the Goddess Skull's Oracle are the targets as well. That means Mystic Mine will be destroyed during the end phase. And this gives Jack a window of opportunity here to capitalize. Let's see what he does. There's the Oviraptor.
Oh my god, this is worst case for Jeff. A hand like that and failed to call the Twin Twister. Oh, I know he's been blinding Twin Twister on Prohibition, but of late he's started choosing Lightning Storm just because it's so much higher impact. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to pay for it now.
And so here we go. Here's Duelist. Duelist has the ability to pump up that Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to 7,000 attack if he so wishes. And that's it. Jeff's going to go ahead and... No, he was summoning from grave.
Awful.
Yeah, we're going to have a 7,000 attack point Conductor Tyranno swing in at Jeff's face. And we're going to game 3. Jeff opting to go first once again here. It all comes down to this. Remember, this is on the bubble of this tournament. So whoever wins this has a shot at the top cut here.
I will say, we've talked a lot about Mystic Mine, but Dinosaur kind of got a lot. The impending ban list, of course, is quite good for it, as well as the changes to Master Rule 5. But cards like Duelist mean that the deck has all these absolutely incredible lines to set up either combo or aggro boards by wielding an extra deck that includes cards like Pensatag and the rank 4 Xyz, the Evil Zors that negate things.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that Jeff has opened Mine, Field Barrier, God of Skulls, Oracle again with a pot of duality here?
This is the Boomer Exodia. I don't know how he keeps finding it, but these 3 cards are magnetically attracted to Jeff's hand. Oh, I mean, Metaverse too. Come on.
He is maximizing on all copies of it, to be perfectly fair. But, I mean, that's a pretty good... It doesn't get you your win condition, but Metaverse is basically your backup Mystic Mine. So even if Jack were to have something like Twin Twister here, I mean, it's not really going to help him too much.
It's so frustrating. I mean, I understand there are outs to this, and I understand the deck is built in a way to play around it, but boy, oh boy, does it suck to have to face this down every game.
Well, there's an evenly match, so that's a way to deal with this board. So we are most likely just going to see Jeff give up everything aside from probably the Metaverse, and that's what it looks like he's going to leave. Otherwise, Jack could just pass turn, and then Mystic Mine would destroy itself if he were to leave that. So he's giving Jack the initiative to summon something, but he might not, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I would guess we're either going to see an immediate card that gets rid of Metaverse, or potentially... a pass. And given the fact that we've normal summoned an Overraptor, I think an Ash is near Jeff's future.
Yeah, I mean, wow, it resolves!
Whoa, Ash or a Twin Twister, maybe? Oh my gosh.
I mean, there could be a twin here, but, I mean, that's gonna be rough. Okay.
Overraptor for Overraptor. Why are you allowed to do that?
It seems perfectly fair, right?
And he doesn't have the out!
Wow, no out on Jack Verma's side here. That's so tough. Like, I thought if he was going with that Oviraptor, I thought he was guaranteed 100% going to either have the Ash for that Metaverse or the Twin Twister. And there's Left Arm Offering now. Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
This could be it. Interesting. Okay, so Jeff actually going for Goddess Skull's Oracle just to protect the Mystic Mine now.
Yeah, no reason to call Prohibition or Field Barrier here. You know the answers in Jack's deck are so varied that you're never going to be able to cast a wide enough net. Might as well make sure he doesn't draw the answers in the first place.
Well, to be fair, we've seen matches in the past against Jeff Leonard where his opponent had 3 Twin Twisters on the top of his deck, so Goddess Skull's Oracle was not actually going to do it in that case. But obviously, those
he did win that game.
Absolutely, because he Solemn Judgment to the Twin Twister. Oh, man. So, Skull's Oracle is going to keep, helping the top of Jack's deck just pretty much remain intact for whatever Jeff sees fit here. Draws and passes, though, so nothing big. Jack it's just a battle of can you draw that out? To be fair, Jack also is playing Extravagant, so he's got an opportunity to look at more cards than other decks would, since a lot of decks have their monster effects relying on them getting deeper into the deck. So, I mean, who knows? It's be curious. Oh, no, the Prohibition!
And you've been able to Fate Seal your opponent about 4 times now. You know exactly what the pick is.
So he's going for Lost World, interestingly enough, so nothing to protect Mystic Mine particularly. But a set card from Jack. Ooh, could that be another Twin Twister like we saw in Game 2?
Oh, man, I certainly hope not for Jeff's sake. That would absolutely end the game unless that set card is exactly Solemn Judgment.
Well, plays back to Jack. There was no end-phase Twin Twister there, so it looks like we're just going to go ahead and tribute set over the Miscellaneous Saurus. This is peak Yu-Gi-Oh, ladies and gentlemen. This is peak Yu-Gi-Oh.
What do you think?
Goddess Skull's Oracle again.
What do you think that tribute set monster is?
I don't know. It has to be, so it's a 5 or 6 star.
Could be.
I'm genuine.
Gamma? There's no way he'd be on Cyberame Gamma after
set
game
tribute
2.
Set driver. I don't think so. I don't know. That one's beyond me.
I sure hope we get to see it.
Actually, I think because we're on here, I think we can hover. Oh, it's Shaddoll Beast. Okay.
There's Shadolls in this deck. Of course.
Yeah, there's Shadolls in this deck, but we haven't even seen them at this point because, oh no, the second left arm coming in.
No.
So we're going to get rid of the Pathfinder and the Unending Nightmare. We're seeing some side deck cards there from Jeff's
You gotta
deck.
beat Lost World.
And there's going for a second Prohibition. Wow.
Love it. I mean, he knows what his opponent's drawing. I assume
That's
we're calling
fair.
Twin Twister here?
Maybe.
Yep.
Uh-oh, do we have like another like triple Twin Twister scenario? Was he forced to go Prohibition? Is that the problem? It's just interesting to me. I'm curious why you would opt to not just go for your win con at that point. But I mean, again, he can see the top 3 cards. We cannot. So Jack just with another set and pass here.
And again, no reason to fear Lightning Storm from this position. That Overraptor is going to keep it off forever. No real reason to fear evenly matched. Those 5 set monsters are really doing a lot of work here. And Retaliating Sea, that's so funny versus Jeff.
And there it is, the Cauldron of the Old Man. That's fitting for this deck, funny enough. But now we're going to start to see Jack be on a clock. So now that this has been activated, Jack has a total of 7 turns before Cauldron will end up winning this game. Unless he sees some sort of out, but no Twin Twisters now. Like you said, Lightning Storm's offline. His options have to be so limited at this point for what he's actually able to do, and we're just seeing him discard to hand size.
I mean, given that he keeps passing, it's got to be Cosmic or bust.
So there we go. Cauldron's going to take another 600 life points away from Jack here. We're just going to see the top of his deck continue to get shaped. It's rough. You got to feel for Jack in this instance. There goes a Phantasme. That's not going to do anything in this matchup. I think that's one of the interesting things about Mystic Mind, though, is that it blanks so many meta cards that, like Phantasme and, like, just all these different things that we've seen, like Retaliating Sea, that's another one. These cards that do absolutely nothing against most decks that you're going to see the most in representation. And then when you come across this deck in the 8th round of a big tournament with a lot of big names, you kind of don't know what to do sometimes.
It's really hard. I mean, even if you're boarding out 15 cards, there's no way everything you're boarding in is going to be relevant. You're gonna have blanks, and drawing them feels so bad against this intensely punishing strategy.
And now we just saw Jack go for a double tribute set on his last turn, so probably sacking for either Pankratops or another Phantasme just so he doesn't have to keep discarding to hand size. Just really hoping to either just hit an Extravagance or one of his options that he still has. The fact that Jack's playing it out, maybe he does have something, or
I can't help but feel that Evenly would still be an option if you hadn't set all these monsters.
Yeah, and that's like the worst part about it. I mean, you really just need to have as many options available as possible to just, when you get that one window of opportunity against the Mystic Mind deck, to try to come back from it, but it's rough sometimes. We saw Evenly in the first turn, looked like it was really strong, but just Jack wasn't able to capitalize on it, unfortunately.
All right,
okay, so here's the Pankratops. Here we go. Looks like we're going in. Everything into it. We're going to banish for the Conductor Tyranno. This is Jack's final stand. Another Oviraptor. We're going to overlay for Logia. Is he going to try to protect whatever he's about to do here? It's a second Tyranno. Oh, man. He's going to battle phase. Oh, main phase 2. He was just building up the anticipation. We're going to go to Jeff's next turn. Cauldron of the Old Man ticks up to 7. That will deal the remaining damage to give Jeff Leonard the win. And that is going to put him onto a topping record for this event. Unbelievable. Just a great show from Jeff Leonard there.
I have never seen an individual play so consistently as Jeff. Just an unbelievable textbook execution of this deck at every opportunity. If there is one person that should be allowed to play Mystic Mind, it's Jeff. Ban it for everybody else.
Absolutely. Kudos to Jack Verma, though. I mean, he played it as well as he could have, considering it's Mystic Mind under the circumstances. But, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.